Gene Clapis, 1304 B Street. Thanks. You mentioned that the golf course, the marina, is like a hazard. Did you say that?
Well, just talking to kids, you know, for them to go by themselves, it's not all that easy.
Is that going to be taken down?
What's that?
Is that going to be taken down because it's a hazard?
I don't think so.
Okay. I don't know why it was built in the first place. It got to cross lanes. It got to cross highways.
They actually can go under the bridge as well.
Yeah, they go-
There's
Okay.
other access to.
But you had mentioned that you said it was a hazard, pretty much.
Well, I you know, talking with the children, it's, you know, sure, for an eighth grader or seventh grader to cross, they get a, you know, a little tempting, but, you know, people drive their cars there, they ride their bikes, particularly at the bridge, absolutely.
Okay.
It's awesome.
So you're going to put one on top of this building on the ocean front, correct?
That's our proposal.
Okay, now, is that money back guarantee? Because you said if it doesn't work out, we'll just have a roof there.
Well,
So,
it's a roof either way, whether you put a miniature golf course on it or not. It's a
but how, there's no expense for miniature golf?
Well, of course, sure.
Okay, so my
Is there a
point,
money back guarantee?
yeah, well, you said that if it doesn't work out, we still have a roof.
Correct.
Yeah, I
No
don't,
money back guarantee.
right, I understand it. Do you understand that?
I understand what I just said.
No, do you understand about the month, you said before that if it doesn't work out, we'll just have a roof there.
Correct.
Okay, so there is an expense to the miniature golf.
Of course.
Okay, thanks. Also, too, the beach utilities, how are they paid? What's the revenue for the beach? Is that the parking and?
Well, it's generally, it's the beach badge sales, and concession leases. Now, one person shouted out before that we could use this money to offset property tax instead. It's not true. You can't bring money from the beach utility into the general budget. You keep a firewall, it's a completely separate utility, much like the water sewer utility is separate. But because it's on the beachfront, whatever costs we incur, just like the cleanup effort of the beachfront and rebuilding the boardwalk, you know, we would put the expense, whatever FEMA doesn't pick up, against the beach utility.
Okay, now beach utility is dependent upon weather, correct?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, so it's a bad weather season, so there's no guarantees as far as the
Hasn't been
revenue.
good about this season so far.
No, right. So, I mean, is it responsible to bank on that? That's my question. Is it responsible to bank on beach utilities when we don't, I can't predict the weather, I don't know if you guys can. So is that responsible?
Doing it the last 2 years, another year.
Well, I gotta imagine as a beach utility for the last 20-something years, and before that, they also started the beachfront. I mean, you know, it's not that you bank on it, but I think you're gonna see a lot of people on the beach tomorrow.
I hope so. I hope it's sunny the rest of the year, rest of the summer, I hope it is.
Okay.
Thanks.
Sure. Yes.
Yes, Brendan Reed, 109th Avenue. First, I want to commend and praise the superb work done by the architects, by the Beachfront Committee, Councilman McGovern, Mayor Doherty, on this project. You know, I've traveled up and down the East Coast, at least go out to Long Island when I lived in Queens. My family lives on Cape Cod, and you'd be hard pressed to come across a set of buildings that is as attractive, as functional as what's got planned here, and that really sets this community apart. The second comment is that regarding mini golf, my wife and I, we live across from the proposed mini golf location, and quite frankly, we welcome it. We think it's going to be a great amenity for Belmar for the reasons that you suggested, and also be a lot of fun. And believe me, you know, if there was going to be any type of noise issues, you know, we'd be on the front lines of it. And I think that what you planned, what you suggested, I think will address it while adding something very positive to our community. And lastly, regarding to the Taylor Pavilion, that second floor is an amazing addition. I potentially see, you know, I could just see the rental income coming from banquets, from other type of events. There would be no other facility like that anywhere on the Jersey Shore. So I think it'll be more than earned its keep. And thank you, and keep up the great work.
Yeah, Bill.
Hi, everyone. Bill McKim, 905 Ocean Avenue. Brian, I went to a couple of your meetings, and it was great revision in the plans. I even spoke to the architect, and I told him that he knew he would have the right building. When he showed it to everybody, it looked really nice, and I think you've accomplished that. And I think a couple weeks ago, you didn't have it. So I'm really happy to see that, because as somebody who lives right on Ocean Avenue, my house was built in 1875. I've never thought about knocking my house down and building a 2,000, 3,000 square foot house with an elevator and all the other cool stuff that some people have done in town. I really do take what's up on the beachfront seriously, and also never think about taking a house that's never been hit by a hurricane and taken out or caught on fire or all the other stuff. That one of the original houses on the beachfront, that I owe it to just keep it the way it is. So that said, I think the design is very important, and I think the design is even more important than the overall height. I think if you build a 35-foot ugly building, it's an ugly building. And if you build a beautiful building, it happens to come out to 43 feet, 38 feet, that we can all live with the height. And I live right across the street from which will be the tower. And of course that height will be, it will be significant, but it's a very nice, much nicer looking building than the original plan, and maybe you just didn't have enough time to put some of the detail that you've done tonight. As far as mini golf, people that know me, I definitely have my opinion. It's even split my house. My wife thinks it's a cool idea. Matt's turned me a little bit tonight with the idea that it's not going to be just a commercial operation, as if I was running it, where I'd try to keep it open at 1 o'clock in the morning, with no consideration for anybody else. But hopefully the town is running it, and the town doesn't need as much money, that the town can keep it to a reasonable hour for the mini golf. And lastly, I'll just say that I think most of us here have really given our trust to Ole on the council, and he did a great job with the boardwalk. So I'm going to continue to give you my trust that everything you do on the buildings is going to be done the same way, and that they'll come out at the end just as beautiful, and we'll be as proud as we are of the current boardwalk. Thank you.
Hi, Louis Polito, Dean and Manor Apartments on 16th Avenue. I just want to again congratulate Brian and the efforts of the Beachfront Development Committee on their outstanding work in getting this up together for all of us to see and consider. I have to agree with you, Mr. Mayor, that holding off on consideration of what to do with the location of Batiste is a good idea. I think something for further consideration, so that whatever happens there is done in the best interest of the town and the residents around it right there. So I commend you for that decision as well. With everyone else I've heard so far, I think I'm also in agreement that the tower for lifeguards is a great idea. So I would definitely want to move forward on that. Regarding the mini golf, personally, I think it's a great idea to have it. I've seen the mini golf operations in other neighboring towns in Asbury Park and Bradley Beach, and they are packed. It's a very popular attraction and a very popular activity for people coming to the shore. And I'm thinking that for us to boast 2 different mini golf opportunities at the marina and at the beach would be an additional draw, another why to come to Belmar for people coming to our beachfront, our beach, and hopefully in addition our businesses in town. So also I agree that mini golf would be a great thing to have. And finally, I guess I just want to also express my confidence in you guys. Ever since you guys have been up there and taking care of what's going on on the town, especially since Sandy and what we've done so far, you have built a lot of confidence in myself and a lot of other people that you know what you're doing, and what you're doing is best for the town. And I can't imagine why anyone would think that you would take this big and important improvement to the recovery and to the redevelopment of Belmar and take a light or lackadaisical approach to it. So I like what I'm seeing. Keep up the good work, and I hope we see it move forward quickly. Thank you.
That's it. Yeah. I'll just talk like this. George Comatas, 111 3rd Avenue, Belmar. I kind of most of the time see the glass half full. I see down to earth landscaping doing the great work around the lake, even though it hasn't stopped for them. See North End builders building all over the place. Like they're building great, beautiful homes. See Barry and his partner. I just think the town looks incredible. These buildings, I want to see the buildings again. Again, I live on 3rd Avenue. We've always had building. I remember playing rooftop golf. I apologize. I get a little nervous up there. I consider all you guys friends, from Mr. Bean, from all you guys. I really think we're always going to complain about taxes. I remember the shoeman next door to me, Lou the shoeman, worked 55 years. He said he had listened to his uncle when he wanted to buy the house in Spring Lake, and I forget what year it was, for $35,000. He would have never owned a home. When I bought my house in '88 for $158,000, I couldn't sleep for 5 years, just working every day in the restaurant. Everything goes up. The Glendola Firehouse, they call it the Taj Mahal. Down the road, later on, you say, thank God we built it, because nothing goes down. It just doesn't. This is going to last 100 years, I hope, without a hurricane or something crazy. I fought the fire at Taylor Pavilion, and then when I saw them building it, not putting the second floor, it didn't make sense to me, but, I didn't, I would like to see the second floor personally. The lady that was asking about from 101 6th Avenue, when they had the parties there, that didn't cost the town money. I was hired, the liquor party. I took care of the garbage, I cleaned the building at a crazy minimum fee. So that didn't cost the taxpayer anything. That was the liquor parties only. The other parties, the people would take care of it, and a lot of times if I drove by at the end of the night, I'd pick up the garbage and bring it to the dumpsters. That's
Just to be clear, when George says liquor party, that was a party that had liquor, not that'll be the next flyer that we have booze fest. So, yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Marissa Paragano. Hi, everybody. Just to echo, actually, I want to start quickly by saying thank you.
Just your address real fast.
7th Avenue. I just want to say thank you during the storm. I followed you on Twitter, and that was very helpful. Obviously, my generation favors that, and it was easy to access from anywhere, so thank you. I do have some questions, and I've got them in a quick order here. Building on Councilman Bean's question, will the increased cost be offset by any additional efforts? I understand that part of it will be paid for by the beach fund, but will there be any additional efforts to increase that beach fund?
Well, the other idea would be, we're going to have concessions in brand new buildings, so we would look to, potentially increase those rents because they're going to be more valuable with brand new buildings. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Also, if we have if we operate the marriage golf or we go out to bid and have someone operate it under our guidelines, that's another place for additional revenue. So there are going to be some opportunities for additional revenue. We're not going to overdo it. We don't want to over commercialize the beachfront. I bring my kids to Point Pleasant, they love it, but I don't think we want to be Point Pleasant. But to have some commercial aspect for additional revenue, yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. So anything on the boardwalk then that makes money that can be attributed to the beach fund? Is that how that works? Okay. I also did a quick study of some of the towns and neighboring towns within Monmouth County, and I looked at their beach funds and how much their beach cost is for a daily badge, a seasonal badge, and things like that. And while I'm not advocating that we raise our funds in any way, there are a few different ways to approach it. So for instance, our daily badge is 20% lower on average than our neighboring towns. Our seasonal badge is 69% lower on average than other towns within Monmouth County. And then in addition, they also have a juniors fee, which we don't have. And so I'm not advocating that, but I am saying there are a few different avenues if we were looking to increase our beach fund. That being said as well, I think that we should probably consider some sort of effort to make sure that we do have the funds available. I understand that you don't have an estimate available at this point, but when choosing the building materials and things like that, there has to be some sort of an idea of what wood versus any other material would cost, and there has to be some idea.
We haven't even decided how the structure is going to be. It's going to be steel, or it's going to be wood frame at this point. So
Oh.
it's very hard.
Thank you. And when you put that out for a bid, will you have those things specified?
Absolutely.
At that point, will we be able to know what the estimate will be?
Construction estimates at the same time as the construction dollars.
What's the timeline for that?
We plan, the timeline is that we'll be coming back to council in August for authorization to bid, so we would have those understood then.
Okay, by August, thank you. Next question. How many restrooms and concession stands in addition to what we have now? So how many more will there be incrementally to what there was pre-Sandy?
Well, pre-Sandy, we had a total of 6, including Matisse,
For concessionaires,
for concessionaires.
6.
We had 6.
This is spec 7,
7 plus mini golf,
mini golf.
so 8.
Thank you. And restrooms?
The restrooms were undersized in some of the previous buildings. These designs are increased bathroom capacities because it's similar to support the event space, the space that we're looking to design. So it is more, I don't have the exact number, but we can get that.
Okay, but it'll likely be an increase as to what we had previously, both in size and in number.
I can get it.
Okay. I also saw on the website that there's a rendering which includes showers. Are these in the plan?
No, it was something that was proposed, and I'll tell you, I heard a lot of feedback, much like Councilman Governor mentioned, the lights initially we were looking at. We got a lot of feedback on that. We got a lot of feedback on the showers, so we ended up taking them out.
I guess they like that. And so then also, I guess my next question would be about the distribution of the pavilions. I know there was some mention about north versus south and things like that. At the current designs, you have one on 5th, one on 8th, one on 10th, so 3 blocks in between, but then again, nothing distributed there in between. Is there any consideration for moving one of those to be at 13th or to somehow distribute it a little bit more evenly across the boardwalk so as not to overpopulate the 8th Avenue area and the 3 blocks surrounding it?
No, not really. I mean, it's in the past it was 5th, 8th, 10th, and 13th, and now we're just looking at 5th, 8th, and 10th, with again, still considering 13th.
There used to be one at 18th Avenue, but that was destroyed during the '92 storm, and that was never rebuilt. So that probably, what you're thinking, probably balances out a little bit more.
Yeah.
And there was also one at 16th Avenue, Joe Damas.
And that's your 5 minutes. So thank you very much. Those are outstanding questions.
I'll tweet you the rest of the questions. Thank you.
And if you want to see where we can get some real revenue, where our beach bed prices are lower than anyone around us,
Yes, sir.
seniors.
Yeah, they are. They're actually 80% or something like that.
Way below. Jacking up the senior beach.
I like seniors because they don't use a lot of the schools and things like that, so they actually make more revenue for the city.
For the record, you were joking.
Speaking of senior citizen.
Sam Cable. Since 1947, all my kids were brought up on the golf course on the beach. And I think it's a great idea because we're known as a family-oriented town. Let's keep it that way, and let's keep the people. Now, I've been to many meetings over the last couple of months, and there was a lot of complaints and a lot of questions about what you're going to do. The end result is here now, and I think you did a great job. Continue to do it.
I was just kidding about the senior event.
I was just going to make a point of it. John Hutchinson, 519 6th Avenue. Yeah, don't raise the senior. My wife and I have lived in Belmar for almost 16 years. I grew up across the river in Wall Township, so I spent my youth in Belmar playing miniature golf, going to the arcades. In full disclosure, I'm a member of the Boardwalk Committee, and I think Brian has done an outstanding job. And commend the mayor and council for forming that committee and having it open to the public. Some very good suggestions have come up from that. One of the meetings we had was attended by two architects, one from Belmar and another who I think was April, yeah, that's right. She's from Belmar also?
South Belmar.
Yes. So they made a really nice suggestion, I think, for the 13th Avenue area. And that was to make it something that was seasonal. So you could bring in some trailers, nice looking things, put some flies up that would shield the sun and things like that. It might be a nice area, but it would be low and it could come out on a seasonal basis. So I think that's something to consider. And it was, I think, a demonstration that the people who came to those meetings were, their ideas were entertained, their ideas were accepted. I fully support the, obviously being on the committee, we had a lot of discussions, but it came up to what you see here, and some of them, the evolving plans we're just seeing the fruition of tonight. But the second story on Taylor Pavilion, I think that's a very important thing. And one of the things that's happening since the disaster of Sandy is people who are rebuilding in town and in other towns. I serve on the Zoning Board of Adjustment, so we see a lot of the applications coming in. People are putting another story or a half story on because once you have a foundation and you have a roof, putting another story on is a very, very cost-effective thing to do. So I think from a cost-effective standpoint, putting that second story on Taylor Pavilion really makes a lot of sense. So I know there will be detractors and things like that, but I think overwhelmingly the people I've talked to are fully supportive of the changes that are coming with the new buildings and things like that. So thank you.
Colleen, it's for Colleen. Carol Moore, 1206 Oakwood Road. First, on a personal basis, I've lived in town for about 21 years, raised 4 of my kids here. I grew up at the shore, a few towns north of here. So when I got to high school, I lived more in Belmar than I did in my own house. My parents wanted to farm me out. But the thing is, I raised 4 of my kids here. When Sandy took out these buildings, we gathered and we cried because there's so many memories, especially Taylor Pavilion, 4 8th grade dances, all the recreation awards assemblies that we had there. A year ago, May, I had my daughter's baby shower there. I love the new design of it. I love the second floor. For one reason, the egress, that you have to have it open and people come through. If we had her baby shower in May, so that when beach badges were being sold, we wouldn't have the public walking through. With this, you wouldn't have that. You could have your private party upstairs and not have other people walking through and disturbing it. I welcome all 3 designs. I love them. Now, on a partially professional basis, I work at the beach. I'm a badge seller. I meet with the public 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. They love the boardwalk. Even the people who are coming from North Jersey, Staten Island. I had a woman there today from Staten Island. They love the boardwalk. They love what we've done. They ask about the buildings. And I say, they're in process, they're designing, hopefully next summer. And they look forward to it. One thing Kevin said earlier, we have people asking, what is there to do in town for the kids when it's just cloudy out? Or at the end of the day when they come out of the ocean and they don't want to go back to the hotel room or the bed and breakfast. There's nothing. So the golf course would be good. Because a lot of them come, they park their car, they don't want to move it for the whole weekend, because they won't get parking. So they don't want to come to the marina to do the golfing. So that, the golf course there would be fantastic. Badge sales. We have to keep them similar to what we are. That's one reason we get the numbers that we get. Because I have people come and say, well, this is cheaper than going there. We don't have to pay for parking except for on the boardwalk side. They are so impressed with our prices, season, daily. That's why they keep coming back. We raise them, we're gonna lose them, and we will lose revenue. That's just my opinion from the people that I see and I speak to every single day. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Don Paragon on 207th Avenue. I have a couple of questions. First, a comment. I do appreciate all the texts that we received all the way through Sandy. I think that was spectacular, keeping us informed of what was going on, and it was wonderful, and I commend the mayor and council for that. If we don't have these buildings built within the prescribed time, do we lose that money, or is that money able to be put towards the other buildings that we're building?
No, the funding is attached to the replacement structure itself, so it's not like it can be shifted.
So, for example, in the 8th Avenue and the 10th Avenue, if we don't use them, then we lose them.
Yes.
So then I asked the question, I love the design of the buildings. I think that the flavor of them is tremendous, and I think there's a lot of thought going into this. But if we're putting a second floor on one of these buildings and we have to pay 100% of it, and we don't build 13th Avenue, and we're going to get 90% of that structure and we're going to lose it, why don't we take the second floor off of one of the buildings and put it at 13th Avenue and then get 90% funding? And we don't have to pay the 100% for everything on the second floor.
You make a good point. Again, we could still end up doing 13th Avenue. You know, it wouldn't preclude us from putting the second floor and not putting the second floor on campus. Or 13th Avenue, you know, may not get built, or it may be something like John Hutchinson mentioned before, where it would just be seasonal. So 13th Avenue, again, is something we're going to consider, but what we're looking at today would be the second floor on Taylor, but I understand what you're saying, but we're looking at it as being a separate building itself. That's the Taylor Pavilion, you know, and what goes with it, as opposed to taking part of the Taylor Pavilion and putting it somewhere else.
Well, it's not necessarily Taylor Pavilion. I happen to like that particular structure. It's some of the other issues that you're talking about, the mini golf on the second floor instead of maybe putting it on the first floor over on 13th where it's 100% because we replaced something. I'd like to ask you to look at that when you're looking at your funding, and let's take the money that we're going to get and let's use it, not pay for it ourselves through our funds. I do have another question though as well. If you said that the money is from the beach, can't go towards the taxes. If we're short on the buildings, is that coming from the taxes?
Well, it's not if you're short on the buildings. If the beach utility is ever short, it's borne 100% on residential taxpayers.
Then I really think that before you approve these buildings, please review 13th Avenue. Please take that opportunity to see that we don't wind up putting a second floor 100% on our backs on one of the other two buildings. And again, the tower is commendable as well, but let's look to making the residents not get stuck with all this on our backs and really look good and hard at this and really budget this correctly so we're not paying it through our
You're
taxes.
absolutely right. I mean, that's one of the things we're going to be voting on today, hopefully passing, is our budget. Our budget has no tax increase for third year in a row. Simply because there's nothing more I abhor than increasing taxes. So to think that we were to fall short of the beach utility, and that would be borne by the taxpayers, who have to raise taxes for it, you know, I don't know if it's ever happened before, but I can assure you that I would do everything in my power not to have that happen. It's almost as if it's not an option, because That's not the way we run the beach utility, it's not the way I want to run the town.
When you get the budget is for what time period?
Well, it's for January 1, 2013 to December 31, 2013.
So these buildings are gonna start when?
Well, that's a good question. Hopefully,
Last quarter of this year.
you know, third quarter or fourth quarter, you know, these guys will work through the winter. You saw them build a boardwalk during the winter.
Oh, it's great the way they work.
So, you know, we get the right construction company again, and you should be up and running. Our goal, man, I hate it, but our goal, and it's a lofty goal, is to have it up by Memorial Day weekend, 2014.
Does that mean that most of the building burden is gonna sit on the 2014 budget? So that when you're doing the 13 budget, we're not really worrying about the buildings. The 14 budget, we gotta worry about the excess for those second floors in that budget. That would affect our taxes.
It's a capital improvement, so it's bonded over time. Before Sandy, the beach utility had no debt, zero. Nothing.
We're running ahead, right?
Well, every year, it would balance, we would have a surplus, then the next year we'd use the surplus, build up the surplus again, and do it over and over again. Well, we had no debt. Now, we're gonna take on some debt because of the cleanup effort. I will say, because of our buy a board campaign, we raised just about $750,000 at this point. The amount that the amount that the beach utilities have to pay for the boardwalk is it's not gonna be much at all. It's gonna be way less than 10%. So we already start off in a good position. So whatever the cost is, the beach utility for the second floor Taylor, or you know the rooftop mini golf, that gets bonded over a 10 or 20-year period. So it's not as if it hits in 1 year. It gets brought out over time. And that, again, if just like taxes, I don't think we want to look to raise the price for people to go to the beach. But we always have that option. I mean, if we went from $7 to $8, we'd raise a few $100,000 pretty easily. But I don't know if we necessarily want to make it more expensive to come on the beach. But if we ever had to do that, we were falling short for that debt service, we always have that option.
That's logical. One last comment, and then I'm gonna go sit down. I'm a contractor by trade, build houses, and generally, we like to lay out the entire project before we start anything. And I commend you for putting the 3 buildings together, but I also ask that you please have, before you vote this, know what you're gonna do with 13th Avenue and have a real direction on that. Because knowing that that money's available to us and we don't wanna forego it, we should really know what's gonna go there and have that plan, and please don't let that money go if you have the opportunity to use it. Thank you.
For the budget part of this, is he staying for the budget?
Sure.
Hearing?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Jim Rice, Wall, New Jersey. Earlier, Mr. Mayor, you mentioned 9th Avenue Pier and Chess International. I'm just curious, you've been talking about, is there a committee in place to oversee what is going to be done there in terms of the development?
Is there a committee in place, like the beachfront committee?
Somebody at Mayor and Council who is responsible for overseeing it?
Mayor and council.
Okay, so everybody. So there's nobody running a specific committee that's looking at what's going on there?
There's no, I mean, there's the arena, the harbor commission. They're involved.
They aren't the ones that are giving the yay or the nay. So is there, the mayor and council, so okay, everybody collectively. Have you enlisted a public council, an advisory council like you do with the buildings on the beachfront?
A council and attorney?
No, it's like the advisory committee for the
Hello.
beach that I was.
What were you guys just talking about for the last hour and a half? You've had public?
The answer is no.
Okay, so you did not ask the public for any input as to what may or may not be going there. I was just asking, trying to find out.
Well, no. We do ask the public, but we don't have a separate advisory board. Just like we don't have a separate advisory board for any redevelopment project. There is no redevelopment here. It's the mayor and council.
It's mayor and council, okay. I've been in a couple of meetings, asked if there's been any kind of information with respect to plans, proposals, any information as to what's being done. You indicated that you selected the architects here for these renderings because of the work that they had done for the buildings for the Chess International.
No, I didn't say that. wasn't correct. I said that, just to give you an idea of the type of work they do, it's not just us as a municipal government choosing them. Someone who's looking at redeveloping, building in Reno also chose them. I didn't say we chose them because of that.
Okay, so they've also, have you seen or are there plans available that can be reviewed by the public so we have a sense as to what's being proposed there?
It's
Not at this time.
negotiable.
Okay. The last meeting I was at, I asked questions about the parking issue. There were some members of the mayor and council or the council who were of the impression there are no parking issues at the marina. There are certainly many of us who know that there are.
Sir, if you'd like, we'll have a public portion on it. We're only trying to keep this to the beachfront property.
So, okay, I thought this was the public session, so that's why I...
Not in, but we'll have one after.
Very good, thank you.
Great. Mary, and let's end on Mary for this.
Where'd you get to lower that
Hi, Mary Brown is on 1100 C Street, but I'm here in my capacity as an employee of the Tourism Commission. So my input is a little different from what I've heard here tonight, although I can also give my input as a resident of more than 25 years at this stage. I have a couple of comments I'd like to make, and the first one is I implore you to move quickly with this. It's imperative. Everybody we've heard here tonight have been residents, which is wonderful, but this is a community that also has people who make their living here. We have not heard from any of the restaurateurs, any of the business owners, anything like this. We are a summer community. We are a tourism-driven community. The economic impact of our failure to provide these buildings by next year is huge. Not just to us within our community, but to the state as a whole. I just want to throw out a couple of numbers, and I have to read them because I don't remember numbers anymore. Hit 50 and I forgot all that stuff. Here's the bottom line on this. Over 1.9 billion was spent by visitors in Monmouth County last year. Total spending in the state of New Jersey last year by visitors was $40 billion. Tourism industry employs directly in excess of 10% of in the state and in the county. If we didn't get the revenue that is, let me quick one here. Visitors to Monmouth County paid $263.9 million in state and local taxes. Failure to get that revenue will result in every single home paying in excess of an additional $1,420 in taxes. This is the money of this. It's the employment part of it. It's why it's important to get it done. I know we have to pay for these buildings. I know that there's a cost associated with it, but I also feel it's an investment. Another quick number to throw out at you is every dollar we spend investing in tourism gives us a direct return of $26. So this is the reality of it. Whether you go 5 stories or 6 stories, 2 is fine by me, I gotta be honest with you. But the point is, for me, the urgency is, let's get them done, let's make them beautiful. We've got a gorgeous beachfront, we've got a lot to be proud of, and please, please get them done for 2014. We need it, our businesses need it, believe it or not, our people who live in this community need it too, whether they realize it or not. And one last one. I have to tell you, I'm on a personal level and on a professional level a little upset about the showers. It's fine for the people in this community to disapprove of them, but I have found that people come here, they'd like to stay, they'd like to change, have a shower, and move out and spend some more money in our community. And they're not going to do this when they can't clean themselves up. And I'm saddened that we're not going to have them, possibly there's potential for them down the road. And that's it, and thanks for your time. But please move.
All right.
Just one quick.
Oh, it's okay. Pat Wan, 18th Avenue, Belmar. Just want to ask about the impact on what's happening on 18th Avenue in our end of town. They're still knocking houses down. It's a mess. When are you going to vote on DJs using their year-round liquor license? That's going to be the biggest impact on the south end of town and our property values. And to say that maybe he'll just be open to Christmas or somewhere else isn't one, it just doesn't work.
I don't think we joke, again, this was just on the workshop discussion for the pavilions.
So we don't know when this is gonna happen. Okay, thanks, Matt.
All right, so that's gonna close our workshop discussion. You wanna, on this topic, Jose? Sure.
How you doing, Mr. Mayor? Just to go over a little bit of what Mary said.
Name and,
Oh, I'm sorry. Juan J. Garcia, I'm mostly known by Jose, with me and my wife from Tulipanos.
And we're just talking about the beachfront pavilion.
Yes. I think it's a beautiful thing that what it is with the boardwalk, like everybody's saying, just to bring more business into town. I think I mean, that's what we want, you know, we want to be someone's place of destination. Obviously, I'm on Main Street, but I think, you know, what Mr. Renner or what Derek has done with the buildings that we're pretty awful looking. You know, we can do the same thing with the beachfront, you know, so I think you guys did a great job and you just continue doing the job as you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, well, so this is going to conclude that workshop discussion. So I don't know if people came here specifically for that. If some people got this, as we already discussed, inaccurate flyer. So if you like, you know, if you're going to leave now, please have a good happy 4th. If not, we'll continue on with our meeting, which will also include our presentation on the budget. We'll give people a few minutes if they want to leave. Thank you for coming out tonight.
So this was just
I'm going that way. Oh, okay. Go ahead. Oh, thanks.
Well, that was doing the workshop part of it.
Yeah.
Now they're gonna have a workshop, they're gonna do, I think June B wants about the siltway flooding issue, and what can be done about that. And then I think they're gonna move on to the regular, having a budget so many people want to travel, travel.
That's what I'm thinking, like, why would they do it? Like, you guys
It's my fault. I dropped myself. I'm not gonna pick it up. You can hear it. The budget is important. That's towards the end. It used to be considered 100% import, but now they're going to be considered. Okay. Thinking of doing the driveway just when you do it. For new construction. No, they're just like, people like being always seeing a big brother. Yes, but they want to keep
I don't know her name.
that would probably be
Just the funding for the Silver Lake. I know that we had a presentation last week, and I would just like to say that I think we should get funded, we should buffer bond on this, and you did mention August as when the state was going to release money, or FEMA or somebody's going to release money. Maybe we'll come to a discussion or come to an agreement that if a certain date is not come to by that time, if a certain date comes and we do not have the funding for this, that we're going to go ahead and bond it and fix this problem out Silver Lake for these people and their property. And what's everybody's input?
Yeah, I mean, if FEMA doesn't come through, then bond for it. Can we? And but I'll tell you, based on the cost estimate of 1.1 million, FEMA at 75%, 325,000.
Hear you, Matt. Yeah, talking to the mic.
Oh, sorry. I was saying that the cost estimate for the outflow pipe right now is 1.1 million. So it's being submitted to FEMA for their approval, actually to the state of New Jersey for their approval, and it's FEMA money that ends up funding it. And that's 75%, that's $825,000. So, before we throw away $825,000, don't get wrong, FEMA or the state, there's a possibility they don't choose a project, they don't fund it. And in that case, we have to pick up 100% of it, and we will. But first and foremost, we're gonna look at the existing, and again, based on my conversation with the governor today, it's not going to be that far off. Now, in the meantime, one of the things I can tell you is that Mike Campbell and DPW have done a great job since that horrible flood with Monday after the tropical storm. And Mike, I mean, not to put you down here and not to give us a money back guarantee, but how confident are you of keeping Silver Lake under control and not overflowing its banks again, say for the next 3 months?
Right now, I mean, depending on the storm you get, but the outflow pipe that we just fixed last week is running better than it's been running in years. So if you notice, the lake is down very much, but it's also tide dependent right now. We've already put and you already have approved a plan with down-to-earth landscaping to put in the flat. Once we can stop the ocean from coming back in at high tide, I'm fairly confident that we can do it minus a major storm. Regular rains, things like that, I'm very confident we can. But again, depends on the storm you give me. You guys have given me a lot so far.
But, you know, again, if you see a Sandy-like event, you know, we know that's coming in, we pump it down, and, you know.
Prior to Sandy, that lake was down to mud.
Right. So, you know, again, right now, I think we continue working with the state and try to get that, you know, 75%. If it doesn't come through, then, yeah, then.
All right, so,
pick with that.
all right, because, I mean, these poor people's property down there keeps flooding, and this has been a problem. I had the article here from October of 2011, when they're saying we need to do this as soon as possible, and we keep waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. So if we're not gonna say, hey, let's, I mean, we're spending a lot of money in this town this last year, and 1.1 million all of a sudden doesn't seem like a lot of money when you look at the big numbers. So I'd like to say, maybe get everybody's opinion, that if funding doesn't show up by August or September, then let's set a month. If we don't get by this date, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna fund this to protect these people's property. Does any other council member have anything?
Yeah, you're killing me with, because in my report, I was going to address that, so I might as well talk about it now. I was down at 6th Avenue last week for the emergency repairs that had to be done with the pipe undermining the street. As I agree that line down A Street is going to be important to controlling the Silver Lake. And I know it's going to cost, according to our last program that they gave us,